We're live.
We are.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I am in DC and Halisi is in Portugal. So thank you for joining us. I am Kat, and this is my first live. So please show me some grace. I appreciate it. So good morning, everyone.
It's going to be
Good
great.
morning. Good morning.
It's going to be great. It's
Yes.
going to be great.
Yeah. And maybe nobody's awake now anyway, so we're good.
There you go.
So I wanted to introduce you. Halisi is a recent immigrant to Portugal with her husband, Ric. She and Ric are the co-founders of Our Black Utopia.
Yes, not Our Rich Journey.
I know.
Right?
I get confused, right? Our Black Utopia.
Yes.
And so Halisi and Ric were thinking about retirement, and they realized that they were not financially ready to do that. And so they decided to get themselves together. And in a pretty short amount of time, they were able to go from 0 to 800,000 in net worth. Yeah. So, and then since then, you have packed up your life and moved to Portugal. And in the meantime, you are teaching other people how to get their financial lives in order so that they can retire early. Good morning, Greta. So that others can retire early or on time with financial ease.
Yes.
And I want to introduce myself. I'm Kat with Rebloom, and here we talk about how Black and Brown women can bring more joy into our lives through holistic self-care, international travel, and retreats. So if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to my channel and hit like on this video and hit the notifications bell so that you'll know when the next video drops. So Halisi is here coaching me behind the scenes, like little nudges, and yes, she's a live coach. You're like a live coach. So Halisi, thank you so much for joining me on this live this morning. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Fun fact, because you were about to say Our Rich Journey. So when Ric and I first started doing YouTube, 6 months ago now, I cannot tell you how many times Ric almost said, "And I'm Ric of Our Rich Journey." Like one time live, he actually said it. He's like, "Oops." Right? I'm like,
yeah.
What are we doing here? So we would not be in Portugal now if not for Christina and Aman of Our Rich Journey. I'm just going to keep it real, right?
Yeah.
I think every single Black person that I've met in Portugal who is American is here because of Our Rich Journey. So shout out.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see. So a little bit of background. You worked in politics in Colorado, right?
That was one of my jobs. Yes.
One of your jobs. And it seems like you must have been passionate about it. It was something that, politics is pretty consuming. It's not something that you do halfway. You have to kind of dive right in. So how did you sort of know that you were done with that part of your career or that part of your life? How did you know when you were ready to step back from that?
That's a good question. And because it was difficult, in America, our egos, our identity is tied up into our jobs and more than that, our titles. Right. And so, it took a minute, but I want to say, I remember when my mom called me, when I realized that I can't do this anymore. And January 6th was one thing. So we'll talk about that in a second. But my mom, when I made the decision to quit, it was over the holidays, December 2021, because we're in 2022. Yes. And I told my mom, and she's like, "But I like that job for you." Right now, meanwhile, I was down to 121 pounds and my hair was falling out. and I was stressed the out.
Mhm.
And I remember she said, a longtime family friend had called, who she talks to maybe once every 6 months or so. And he said, "So how's Halisi doing?" And she said, "Oh, she's running things in Colorado." I said, "Mom, did he say what was I doing or how was I doing?" He
Mm,
said, "How is she doing?" And you said she's running things. I am not doing well.
mm,
Mom, I am not doing well. And we've got to separate this notion of the fact that I'm succeeding in my career does not mean that I'm happy, that I'm joyous, that I'm healthy, mentally, spiritually, or physically, right?
mhm,
And I wasn't.
mhm.
So January 6th was the thing that said, I remember it was during the pandemic, right? So I'm just like I'm right here in Lisbon. I was in
Mhm,
Denver sitting at home. I was interviewing folks to be my assistant.
mhm.
And the news was on, the TV was over there. The news was on, and I'm doing one of these.
Right.
Because I'm thinking we're just going to hear this count. Some of the other side was going to act silly, and then we're going to be done with it. 45 is going to have his little chump rally, and then that was going to be it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I'm watching, and I'm thinking, what am I doing?
right,
Am
right.
I like, is this an uphill battle? I said that I got into this thing. Barack Obama got me into this thing. I was not thinking about politics before Obama. Let's just be honest. So I started my career in 2007.
Mm,
But at this point, it's all consuming. What I do as a volunteer is politics. Colorado Black Women for Political Action. Where I work is politics, the Democratic Party. So sorry for any folks who are anti. I get it. Um, and second in command at the Democratic Party of Colorado. And I'm looking at what's going on the screen, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am
mhm,
I doing? I'm spending 70 hours a week trying to take care of my dad at the same time,
mm,
and at the time, running for volunteer, another nonprofit, around politics, and I'm not happy. Meanwhile, my husband had been furloughed.
mm.
So he was down in the basement in his man cave with CNBC and CNN on loop
Oh, no.
and Googling stuff.
Oh, no,
And we
honey,
had
no.
already decided we were going to retire abroad. We wanted to retire abroad. We
Mhm,
didn't know if it was possible, but it was the dream. At this point,
mhm,
it was the dream. After 2018 and spending a month in Europe almost, we were like, okay, we want to do this thing. Spain's the thing. I started taking Spanish lessons,
mhm.
and yeah, and then January 6th, and I was like, maybe sooner than later.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. On
and
that
then
day, I live in DC, so on that day, I was like, "Let me just pack a little weekend bag and head out to the suburbs to my in-laws' house 'cause
So
mm-mm."
you knew it was going to be crazy. I wasn't paying that close attention to what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. I didn't either, but my in-laws, CNN, CNBC 24/7, so they were like, "Why don't you come on up here? Why don't you just get out of town for a second?"
Yeah, I
Yeah,
certainly would have. I
yeah.
certainly would have. But not really paying attention to what they were saying because we were so busy
Yeah.
trying to get ready. Every other year is when the party has their internal elections. So there was
Mhm.
all this crap we had to do and had to reconfigure and change the laws to be able to do it virtually.
Mhm.
So I was all caught up in that madness and wasn't paying attention. And so when that stuff happened, I was like, so that started to sour me on the job piece.
Mhm.
But I'm going to admit it was a Stephanie Perry, Rashida Dow video, something about the great resignation or something like that. And Rashida said, those jobs do not, they don't have gratitude, or they don't respect all of that black brilliance.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm like, yes, yes. and and then I'm like, so then I looked at the math and I'm like, what am I doing?
Mm,
What am I doing? And
mm,
still, I had to say, okay, am I going to be okay not being executive director of the blah, blah, blah,
mhm,
where I can call the mayor, I can call the
mm,
governor, right? I can call these,
yeah,
state rep, not just state reps and state senators, but also Congress people and senators. Like
mhm,
they all know my name. Am I okay
mhm,
not being that person anymore?
mm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who am I without this title? Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a
Yeah.
process. That
Mhm.
was a process. Mhm.
Okay, so you're having this realization, like this disillusionment, and you're looking at your finances and realizing there's a gap. What I want to do, what I actually can do financially, there's a gap.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
by this time,
Mhm.
there wasn't a gap.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
okay.
because
Okay.
we found Our Rich Journey in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm,
so we'd already taken the FIRE master class,
mhm,
class on investing. By that time, my stepmother had stepped in and had been my accountability slash coach
mhm.
for investing.
Okay.
And so, yeah, by the time I had broken down and I realized that my dad, no matter what I did, my dad was not going to get better,
Mm,
that he was going to get progressively worse.
mhm,
Um, yeah, by the holidays of 2021, he had been in and out of the hospital.
mhm,
And I remember sitting in the hospital room watching these videos, and my boss texted me and said, "How come you have an out of office notice when whoop de woo and I'm on vacation and we're not supposed to be on vacation at the same time?" It's like, I asked for this back in August. And my dad is in the hospital right now. How dare you text me and ask me that stuff?
mhm,
So that was the thing to get me to look at my finances, our finances, and
mhm.
say, oh my God, we've saved up 2 years worth of living expenses, even if we stayed here in
Mhm,
Denver.
mhm.
So if we can find a way to live just on, because my husband's 9 years older than me, sorry, sweetie, I told. If we can find a way just to live on his social security check and not touch that 2 years of FU money, of
Mhm.
emergency money, then this math is mathing.
Nice, nice, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you had your stepmom as your coach, and you took an investing course or fire course. Um, so I want you to talk especially to women
Yeah.
about. So one of my favorite money books is an oldie but a goodie. It's Prince Charming is Not Coming by Barbara Stanny, and she talks about the fact that she grew up in an era where women needed their husband's signature. It wasn't very long ago.
It was
Um,
not, babies.
it was not. Women needed their husband's signature just to open a bank account.
Or a
And
credit card.
so, or a credit card, you couldn't have that. So, there's this, women here, money here. And um, so that sort of there's a lingering notion that, well, once I get married, my husband will take care of the money or my partner will take care. I don't have to, once I'm partnered, I don't have to deal with that. Or even if I'm not partnered, I don't have to look at my money. It'll just kind of like it'll do its thing.
It'll
Money
work
will
itself
money.
out.
Right. So can you talk about that? Like, did you ever have that? I don't have to deal with my money, or how do you what's your money mindset in terms of
So I'm type A.
Yes, I can see that.
And I'm a Leo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, baby.
Mhm.
Nah.
Mm.
And in the house that I grew up in, my dad is a feminist.
Mm.
And okay, he thought feminist meant gay. So he doesn't claim it because he's 84.
Got it.
But he's the one who said we need like 4 women presidents in the United States in a row just to get this world back in shape.
Mm.
So that's my dad.
Mhm.
And my dad has always made good money, and so has my mom.
Mhm.
Um, but he is kind of forgetful. And so my thing is not plugged in. I got to call my husband because my thing is not charging here.
Oh,
Anyway, so
your
my
laptop?
computer.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's kind of forgetful, and he would walk around with a check in his pocket And
Oh
then,
no.
right. And then we're getting late fees and all this stuff. Right. So it was my mom who made sure that the bills were paid in our house. And I am the one who makes sure that the bills are paid and does the budget in our house. I'm the one who said, you know, when we had this financial meeting with this financial advisor back in 2016, something like that. Actually, probably closer to 2016. Rick walked out so depressed. He was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to work forever. This is just the scenario that this man painted was so depressing. I'm like, that assumes this, and this. So you know, okay, that was just a wake up call. That's how I looked at it, you know? And so I went ahead and started looking at our finances, downloading everything, and then putting it in a spreadsheet and see where we're at and how can we get out of this debt, right? And get in a position where we can actually save real money. Now, this was before I knew about investing outside of 401k. Because back in the day, you don't even walk in the door unless you have $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to start a brokerage account.
Right.
And so I thought that's how it still was, even though I've seen the E-Trade commercials. So, you know, you live and you learn, right? Okay. One second,
I'm gonna get your charger. Okay.
So no, I don't need the charger. We're plugged in. Ricky, I need your help.
See, that's partnership. All I have is this cat right here. She's not going to plug my laptop in.
She's not going to plug it in. This studio, I don't know which plug belongs to which. I think this is it. Wait, I might not need his help. Oh, nope, that's not it.
No.
Which one gives me power?
Hi, Rick. Say hi.
I'm not getting power. So yeah.
Say hi, Rick. Tell him to say hi.
Say hi. We're on air.
Oh, come on. All we get is the hand. Talk to the hand.
All we get is the hand. Oh, you're reaching across. This is not it. So yeah. So something from down there, if you can figure that out, we can get plugged in and I won't worry about it. But yeah, so the notion of leaving something in somebody else's hands, I couldn't do that now. I'm gonna tell my sister, hey, Action VJ. My sister does that. And I don't see how.
She does what? I'm sorry.
She allows her husband to take care of everything.
Yes, my sister does that also.
And if something, God forbid, were ever to happen, eventually someone's going to die. Someone's going to die first.
Oh, he's crawling around on the floor. So, man.
Eventually someone's going to, I don't think we even have a charger in here, right? Eventually someone's going to die first. So what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I think both folks actually really need to know what's going on, right?
I agree.
If you're partnered, and women, look, if it wasn't for my stepmother, teaching me what she knows and telling me, because with our rich journey, I don't think I had done anything beyond index funds. Now, I before politics, I worked in venture capital, where we decided what to invest in by analyzing companies.
Yes.
So why can't I invest? See how we do?
Yes. Yes.
See how we do? I did that for a living. And yet I did not have the confidence or believe in myself enough to believe that I could analyze a company outside of the structure of my job to do something on my own and not to have, that guy, that white guy, that white guy, that white guy, that white woman, co-sign.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So how did you all know when you were financially ready to make that move?
When we did the math, I think it's two things. One is really getting into the habit or the position to always analyze your spending. If you keep your eyes closed and you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what you're spending, then you will never know if there is a gap between what is coming in and what is going out, right? So that's number one. Number two, the thing you have to know is, what is your monthly nut? What monthly is absolute? Like, this is survival. We're talking about housing, transportation, healthcare, and food. What is that number? Once you know that number, then you can start looking around for where can you live on that number. And so I got Adelia's Move Abroad kit, and it contained the Eartha weights. And I started doing some Googling and Eartha weighting. And I was like, I could live in Lisbon. We could live in Lisbon for between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. Now, I haven't made that little bit of money since the 80s, 90s. So certainly we can do that now. Yay, we're charging. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Ric. keeping the juice alive.
What we don't want to do is end this thing in the middle with me just going black.
Right.
So yeah, that Eartha weights, that was like the thing to say, okay, instead of doing it the other way around, trying to make enough money to live where you are, make enough. And Denver is not the Bay Area. It's not even DC, but it's a little out of control from where it was when we first moved there.
Yeah,
it really is. And so a studio apartment in a decent neighborhood in Denver is going to run you $1,500 a month.
A studio. Yeah. Yep.
Right. And so I'm not trying to pay that.
No.
I am not trying to pay that. And well, we had a house, so we had already, stabilized our housing, but food, I mean, for instance, when I went back in August, a roasted rotisserie chicken at Kroger's was up to almost $10. Here, it's €6, which is euro to dollars, basically.
Right now.
Right
We'll see. We don't know, but yes, right now it's good.
So.
Yeah.
And even with a 20% increase, because that's kind of what we've seen, where €120 only gets you $1, or $1 gets you only gets you $1. So even with that 20% increase, we're good.
Okay.
So we've kind of figured that into the mix as well.
Okay. So you and Ric just finished your move to Portugal like 2-3 weeks ago. When is it? Like,
we moved September. We flew the 23rd, we landed the 23rd.
Okay. So today is the something. So not even a month, like almost a month.
Today's the 22nd.
Yeah. So almost a month you've been there, and it was a whirlwind. So can you talk about like the last maybe 3 to 6 months of before you were able to move? Like, what did you have to do? I know it was a whirlwind.
It was a whirlwind. We made the decision December 2021, as I said. I gave notice right after the holidays, and I gave her 3 months because I was ED, right? And so you got to find the right person, and there's a lot of transition, blah, blah, blah. So I gave her 3 months that neither one of them took advantage of, whatever. So ain't my problem. So that's where I met you, right? We did 2 classes together, get your first 3 clients and this and that. And Kat, looking back, I was crazy. I was crazy in those days. I was so stressed, the boop, bloop, bleep out that I had chronic back pain. A twitch in my eye, and I was absolutely crazy. And I did not realize until now that I step back how stressed out I was. So during that time, I was trying to get an appointment with VFS. That is the agency that does some visa processing for some consulates, some countries,
Mhm.
including Portugal, but only in certain cities because,
Yeah.
let's make it confusing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get appointment at VFS. And then I hear Adelia talk about, I'm trying to get residency in 2 countries because I want to have, choices. And,
Mhm.
when the world shut down, I want to not have to necessarily go back to the United States. I want to
Mhm.
have some choices. And I was like, I want to have some choices too. Me too. So I started looking into Mexico at the same time. So I'm doing
Just to add,
Mexico,
just to make it more complicated, just,
right?
as
Plus my family's in Southern California. So I
right.
thought
Mhm,
proximity,
mhm,
that
mhm,
would be a good thing.
mhm.
And so, yeah, to add complications because type A. And I'm trying to get an appointment at VFS, and there is an appointment. This is January 1st. There's an appointment January 22nd and nothing else.
Mhm,
So I book it.
mhm.
I don't know all of the qualifications. All I know is the money. So we quickly make an appointment with the FBI and get that stuff done. And I'm
Mhm, the
starting to pull
fingerprint,
things.
mhm.
And I'm like, I don't know how, I did not know if I had all of the information. And I think I was just learning about Americans and friends in Portugal. So I pulled down that list and started looking at that and grabbing all the stuff. Girlfriend.
Type
So
A.
yes. And
Like
so then
less than a month.
yeah.
Whew.
I don't know what I was thinking. So I just knew we had to get out because
You
my
were ready.
math said we had to get out.
Mhm. You were ready.
So I looked at, what did I do? Expats Portugal, and they had this organization or this company that helped. And so I was calling them. They're on
Mhm.
vacation. This is Portugal. They're not
Oh,
even
January.
answering
Yeah,
phones,
of
right?
course, yeah.
So she finally reaches out to me. In the meantime, I'm stressed out and I'm like texting like on all the groups. Are you telling me that there are no other appointments for 2022? Like if I don't get in now, we have to wait until 2023. And that really pushed me to do Mexico.
Mhm.
So by the time I got the Mexico appointment, someone had said, "Oh, they release new appointments every month."
Yeah.
Well, where is that written? It's not written anywhere. I was stressed out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So then I canceled the appointment. We already
Mhm.
had our FBI thing, and I started slowly getting stuff together. But meanwhile, our appointment for Mexico was in February.
Okay.
No FBI check necessary.
Right.
But I am
More straightforward.
trying to declutter, find help for my dad,
Mm.
do my job. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, you're still working? What?
Still working.
70,
And
80 hours a week?
no, because
Oh,
I had already put in notice.
right. Okay, so you scaled it back.
Yeah, I put in notice and I told her, this is what I'm gonna do and and no more. And please
Okay.
take advantage of my time. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm still trying to find help for my dad and put together the stuff for Mexico. So I had my piles and I'm making and Rick's still working.
Gosh.
And he's working 70 or so hours because they've given him 3 properties with a cut and pay because
Okay.
that's America.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Do a little bit more work, and here's a little bit less money.
exactly, exactly. So, um, we were refinancing our house to buy property in LA because my mom is in LA. And so what we were planning to do was to buy a fourplex, put her and my dad in the biggest apartment, hire help because I'm out.
Mhm.
Like I was not going to let my parents' aging and their lack of planning make me be a slave to America and have to stay. No, I'm sorry. No. It's time for me to live my best life. And so I can make sure that they're okay by hiring someone. And so that was the plan. Buy this fourplex, rent out the condo that my mom lives in, and then everybody else's rent would help pay for my mom and dad's rent.
Mhm. Mhm.
Easy peasy, right?
In a month?
except Gloria Vinson was not cooperating.
Mhm.
She
What,
has
parents have a mind of their own?
Right?
What?
She has yet to go over and look at that fourplex. And so by the time I got there in May to put my dad into assisted living, and I told her, I said, okay, you can stay here, but let me tell you, that means you have $80 a month to live on.
Mama.
What? Wait, what? But I'm like, Mom, everything has gone up except for your money.
Mhm.
So you really are not in the financial position to stay. Well, what about that fourplex? Woman, that was 4 months ago. I got the tickets booked. It's too late. I said, every time you said no, an opportunity went away.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so now she's finally said, okay, just tell me what to do.
Uh-huh.
And I thank God that I have you as a daughter. I'm like, appreciation. Finally,
Mhm.
you're welcome.
Mhm. So
Yes, but
you're
that
starting
Sanders
on it.
generation is just, it ain't no joke.
Yeah, yeah, the hard head. You got hard heads. They go do what they gonna do.
Right? Oh, if I had to move, it would kill me. I said, all you have to do is tell the movers what to do. We'd hire someone to move you. You wouldn't physically have to box up stuff and unpack stuff. We could do that, right?
Whew, yes. Yeah, I think that's important though to say that other people's plans, like you love them, you want to support them, you want them to know that they will be taken care of, and you have
Mhm.
plans.
And I
And you
have,
have your plans. Yeah.
and I cannot wither or die on the vine trying to make up for the fact that you didn't know how to plan for this part of your life, right? Like if I'm not at my best, I can't help you.
Mhm.
Right? If I'm 120 pounds and losing hair and chronic back pain, how am I going to be a blessing to you?
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
I talk to my mom more often now than I did then because I'm not
Wow.
stressed out.
Yeah, not working a 70, 80 hours. That's wild. The
Right?
whole
And we can have
idea.
conversations instead of
Mhm.
just, okay, so what about this bill? And did you do this? And da. I mean, it was like call, make sure everything is being taken. Is there food in the house? Da. Okay.
Mm,
Love you, mom. Bye.
mm,
But now we're having conversations.
mm.
So
That's huge.
yeah,
That's huge.
yeah, it is. And I get to have conversations with my dad that are not about his brain or body
Mhm.
because somebody else is handling that now.
Mm. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny having video conversations with an 84-year-old because
Don't I know it?
he's got his ear up to, I'm like, Dad, look in the phone so you can see me. Oh, hi.
I know, I see up my dad's nose so much. I've seen the inside of my father's nose so many times.
Right.
Like, pull it back.
Oh, yeah, pull it back, daddy, pull it
Yeah.
back. But,
Yeah.
that's my
Yes.
daddy. And I'm a daddy's girl.
Yes. So, as part of this whirlwind, what are some of the lessons that you learned? Like, what would you say to others who might be thinking about the process or going through it?
Um, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I mean, would I have done it differently? For what I was going through and the knowledge that I had at the time, no. Um, but because what I did was I booked the ticket to Portugal based upon our Rich Journeys meetups.
Okay.
So then I backtracked.
Hmm.
So I knew about their meetups in January. So I knew that we were going to be in Portugal in June. And we're going to open
Okay.
up the bank account, and that was going to be our scouting trip. And then
Hmm.
we're going to come back and apply and move in the fall.
Hmm.
So that kind of, so then I backtracked from there. So then it was about getting the house together so we could rent it out, and we're still working. And Rick didn't put in notice until he didn't quit until April 1st. So, and
Hmm.
then we left May 4th to take my dad to LA. Did I know where he was going to be? No. Had we applied for any of the financial assistance, the Medicaid and all of that stuff? No, because you can't apply until you're in state.
Mm. Hmm.
and I'm leaving June 4th.
Mhm.
Talk about fate. And my aunt, she was talking to me. She's like, well, what if you don't find a place? I said, that's not an option.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is not a talk about manifesting. That
Mhm.
is not an option. And so I took lots of baths with candles and smell good stuff, which is good because I don't have a bathtub now, so I can't do that. Lots of baths, lots of visualizing myself receiving the call that my dad has someplace to stay and
Mhm.
everything, and we can afford it
Mhm.
because I have to pay for it until assistance comes in.
Okay.
Right. And
Mhm.
so I every night I had a card, a index card on the mirror in our room that said, I am certain that Ric and I are living abroad and are financially independent. A year
Love it.
later, here we are.
I love it.
Here we
I
are.
love
So
it.
that was keeping me sane. That was keeping me sane. And so, so we're in LA, and my mom's memory is not good either, right? So she writes me a note and she says, I can't remember the lady's name. Laura called you. I'm like, Laura, I'm looking through my list of people. I said, Laura did. I said, I didn't call a Laura. She's like, oh. She said, oh, Pastor gave me her name. She has a home. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is why you got to tell people what you're doing.
Right.
You got to tell people what you're doing, where your life is at. What are you trying to do? Especially like I have friends and family in LA. I'm from LA, right? So tap that network because
Mhm.
I don't know what the process is in California anymore. And so, so I call this lady, and she turns me on to another place, and who turns me on to the place where my dad is at.
Mhm.
And that happened within 3 days. And
Wow.
she had just had an opening because someone had passed like 3 weeks ago. And she
Mhm.
said she doesn't advertise, she prays, and God sends the right person. And here you are.
That's incredible.
And
Way
so he
brave.
literally moved in 10 days before our plane left for Portugal.
Wow.
Yes. Hey, Nika. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you
Good to
guys.
see you, Tracy. Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes.
Mm.
So yeah, it, I tell you, I can't think of what I would have done differently with the knowledge that I had. And for me, because I'm a master procrastinator, I will procrastinate.
Really?
Oh,
You are?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So I have to set a date, or I have to say it out loud and tell folks so people will hold me accountable. Because
Mm.
I will put that stuff off and put that stuff off. Like I've had my ballot
Oh,
for
yeah.
15 days.
Yeah, I have mine too. Oh, you have to
Mhm.
send yours. Oh, do you take it to the embassy, or
So
where do you
it's
take it?
electronic. But what
Oh,
if it doesn't work? So don't wait,
right,
Halisi, until
right.
November, whatever.
Mhm.
And then I can't call anybody to say my stuff's not working because now everybody else and their mama's calling, right?
Right.
So I need to do it now
Mhm.
because ballots are about to drop in Colorado, and then they'll be busy and they won't be able to
Mhm.
help. See,
Mhm.
procrastinating,
Mhm.
procrastinating. Hey,
Yeah.
Coach Donna, good to see you. So yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
Um, I think that if anything, I should have spent more time um, trying to find ways to relax.
This was gonna be a question of mine for you. Sort of now, and you did mention the baths and that, but I'm thinking now that you've had this whirlwind, all the packing, all the preparation, all of the stress, all of the waiting and praying and manifesting and all of that in this compressed amount of time,
Yeah.
now that you and Rick are in Portugal, have you rested? Are you resting? How does it feel to be there? Are you letting go of the busyness? Are you letting go of the type A? Are you a type A for life? Or are you a type
Yeah.
A because you were in the environment that you're in?
I don't know yet. So we had a fire, an electrical fire at our house. So we went back in August to pack up the rest of our stuff, apply, and come back, right? Um, and so we had an electrical fire. So I'm still dealing with that.
Okay, cleaning up after that.
Yes,
Mhm.
and they found asbestos and, blah, blah,
Crap.
blah, blah, and yeah. So it's all cleaned up now, and so I just have to stay on top and make sure that everything gets done and put back to rights. So I'm still having to deal with that. I'm still trying to find my mom some help. So I'm still having to deal with that. So it's not like I'm at a position yet where everything has been totally taken care of.
Mm,
But then we have this YouTube channel called Our Black Utopia.
yes.
And our dream originally, when we were in the early days of our marriage, this is neither one of our first marriage, right?
Mm.
And thank God, because now we know what to avoid and how much to appreciate each other.
I'm glad I didn't know it was your second marriage. That gives me some hope.
No, not my second marriage, my third marriage.
Okay, that gives me even
Full,
more hope.
full disclosure, and it's his third marriage too.
Oh,
So,
wow,
and
you
we've been
guys have
together
been
for
married
20 years.
okay, yes.
So
Yes.
we've been together since my son, his son too now,
Mm,
was 7 years old.
mhm,
So, and he's 30 now.
mm.
So we've been together for a long time. Those first two were lickety split,
Mhm,
idiot, lickety splits. And if
gotcha.
you're watching, yeah, y'all idiots. So they're not watching. They're not watching. Both of them are cray cray. So as a matter of
Oh,
fact, my
no
son came
comment.
back when he was 13 years old. He came back from LA after staying some time with his dad and his biological dad and his
Mhm,
stepmom,
mhm.
because he really does consider Rick his dad at this point. Um, and he's like, Mom, I just want to tell you and Rick, thank you for showing me what a marriage is supposed to look like.
Mhm. Yes, yes,
Thank you, sweetie.
yes.
So we finally got it right.
Mhm.
But I can't remember. We got on this tangent. I can't remember the original question.
Whether
Relaxing.
whether you're actually a type A
Yeah.
to the core or whether it's
Yes.
environmental.
So our first dream was to make document to buy a motorhome, Winnebago, and tour around the country making documentaries. And I had forgotten all about that, but I pulled out our vision board from those days. And I was like, I'll be damned. When I look at the pictures that I chose, they were not America.
Oh.
They were not. They were I know the West Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know the East Coast, how it looks so much, but I know spots of the East Coast. No, 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 no. This is Europe, that I pulled pictures from Europe, and put those on the vision board along with the creativity and the this and the that, right?
Mm.
And so I pulled it out while we were decluttering and all of this after I put in notice, and I'm like, "Sweetheart, look at this."
Mm.
Now, listen to this. So my boss, old boss, former boss, at the going away dinner, before the dinner, she texted me. She said, I had a dream about you last night that you were, she said, on TV talking about your life traveling, because I hadn't told her we had settled on Portugal at this point, your life traveling, and people were interviewing you like you were an expert. My boss was a little bit psychic. She really was.
Wow, wow.
And see, we had already
Wow.
decided on the
Wow.
YouTube channel by this time, but we hadn't launched. I had already taken the class with Sheeta
Mhm. Stephanie.
and Stephanie, where I met you,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I was like, really interesting,
Wow.
and I just left it at that.
Okay.
So here we are, and I love, planning this stuff out.
Mm.
Every time we're out, ooh, this is interesting. Yeah. And oh, didn't so and so ask about vegan food? Here's a restaurant,
Mhm.
and so we're
Mhm.
filming that and filming this and filming that. And
Yeah.
then sometimes not.
Mhm.
So I don't know, because I'm so enjoying building our community on YouTube.
Mhm.
It's so much fun.
Mm.
We really don't make any money. I mean, I think we've made maybe $1,000 so
Mhm.
far
Mhm. Mhm.
in revenue, ad
Yeah.
revenue.
So it pays for
So
itself, and
yeah,
a little
so
bit more. Yeah.
exactly. So this is not that,
Mhm.
um, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And it keeps us up with the technology and learning. What I don't want to do is become mentally stagnant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to keep those synapses
Yep.
going
Yeah.
and creating new ones because
Yes.
I've seen the life of my mom and dad, and I don't want that.
Yeah. No. No.
I do not want that.
No.
So I don't know.
You don't
I
know.
don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
We will do a follow-up in a year and I'll let you know.
Perfect.
I am getting rest.
Mm.
I rarely get up before 8 o'clock. But
Eight
then I
o'clock,
usually
Halisi. 8 o'clock. That's you sleeping
I was
in?
up at that's sleeping in, and it's hard to stay in bed because I usually pop up at 6 and then I'm like, oh, it's still dark. I'm getting yeah, that's sleeping
Mm.
in.
Mm.
Um, because I was getting up at 5:36
Yeah.
before. So 8 a.m. is definitely sleeping in, especially because I'm dealing with folks in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't really call my dad until 11 p.m.
Oh, California time. Yes.
unless it's on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so I'm staying up for that. I'm staying up for, Adelia's live at 7 p.m.
I know.
And so
Mm.
it's midnight and stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
staying
Yeah.
up later,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
binging on Netflix stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time to do before.
Yeah. Are you starting to learn Portuguese? Are you taking classes or?
No.
That'll be a way to keep your synapses going because
Yes, I'm
yeah.
still taking Spanish. So, because I started, and so one of my goals before I leave this planet,
Mm.
5 languages.
Okay.
I've always, always, always wanted to be at least bilingual since I was
Yeah.
a little kid in San Diego because I had, friends, Mexican friends,
Yeah.
American friends whose
Mm-hmm.
parents spoke,
Yeah.
Spanish. And
Uh-huh.
I was always so jealous that they could speak. It was like pig
Mm-hmm.
Latin.
I know
What
it's
are you
beautiful.
saying? Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I started taking Spanish because we were moving to Spain.
Oh, okay, Spain. Yeah.
And then, when Mexico came up, okay, that's good,
Mm-hmm.
and I could do all we can, and I've got the Spanish. And so when Rick started mentioning Portugal and have you seen these kids from Portugal, Our Rich Journey? And I was like, Portugal? No.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I watched some of their videos and I'm like, oh, ooh, yay. I ignored and avoided their money videos
Hmm.
for months.
Mm-hmm.
For months.
Hmm.
Only looking at the Portugal stuff. And so then I started Google walking around Lisbon and stuff like that. And I realized I could read the signs.
In Lisbon?
Yeah, in Portuguese. And so I started looking at some of the websites and stuff. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is a lot like Spanish. I can figure this out. So I'm going to keep taking Spanish, so I'm still taking Spanish. And
I beg to differ. I mean, I do know some Spanish, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I find it so different.
pronunciation wise, okay,
Yeah.
so I've taken 7 years of French as well.
Yeah, me too.
So pronunciation wise, yes, but reading it.
Mm,
So yes,
okay.
reading
Yeah.
it, I can figure it out in context.
Mhm, mhm,
So between Spanish mostly and some French, I can figure it out.
mhm.
So I continue to take Spanish, and there's so many words and so many verbs that are the same. The verb to eat, the verb to like, all of those verbs are the same.
Mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
and
Halisi, how about if we have a contest by the time both of us turn 70 to see who is fluent in the most
languages. So you want to do the same? Okay, yay. All right. So we're starting Portuguese next week. I've already found the
Oh, good.
teacher,
Okay.
and and so we're going to start. So we've already started looking at YouTube videos. We're, the goal is 15 minutes a day,
Mhm.
and I just started with A, B, C, D because
Yeah.
their pronunciation, is off the chain. I'm looking at what it says, and I'm listening to them. I'm like, that ain't what that said.
Mhm,
That
mhm,
is not what that said.
mhm,
But it's a lot like French in that regard.
mhm, mhm.
And but
Yeah.
when I say certain words like dark, ran into our landlord who speaks no English, and the hallway was dark, and so we're fumbling around, and I'm like, oh my god, oscuro.
Oscuro. No?
Ew. He knew, same
Okay.
word. It's the
Okay.
same word.
Okay.
So maybe it's pronounced, he understood what I was saying.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So I try not to speak Spanish because I've heard in the chat, in the comments from some Portuguese, we don't like that.
I know. Yeah, it's just
But
different culture.
that's the
Yeah.
only other language that I know. I don't
Yeah.
remember French so much.
Yeah.
It comes back when I don't want it to.
Exactly.
But and so it's like foreign language, speak Spanish.
Exactly.
Even to the point where I obrigada is like just rolls off my tongue.
Me
But
too.
once in a while, no gracias. No
Yeah.
gracias. Once in a while.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
for
I
people
think a
from
year
the
from now.
diaspora,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I think a year from now, if you're, continuing with those lessons, um, yeah, you're gonna have you're gonna be in a great position with the language. That'll be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Definitely, and our
Yeah.
landlord lives next door, and he and his wife are so cool.
Mm.
They are so cool, and so he wants to be friends with us, but it's really difficult when you're having to use Google Translate and talk
Mhm.
at the phone and all of that,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so this will be, once I get over and I can do at least the basics, then I'm gonna invite them, to
Mhm.
dinner.
That's sweet. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so nice. That's
yeah.
really nice.
Because they say it's hard to have Portuguese friends, so
Yeah.
they'll be our first.
Yeah. That'll be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
looking forward.
yeah, so what do you think is next for you in terms of, rest
Um,
and relaxation
yeah, I told you I was trying to book a flight and look for
out
a
of
house sit,
Portugal? What, the heck?
because we're still on a tourist visa.
Yeah. So you were trying to go not to house sit in Portugal, but somewhere else,
Maybe in Portugal, I've got
oh,
that's on my
favorites.
my alerts and stuff
Yeah.
too, right? So
Mhm.
I've got
Mhm.
Spain, France, and Portugal. If I see a little house sit and it's like a $20 flight while we are still on this tourist visa, because it won't count against us
Mhm.
for
For your
our
B7, yeah.
E7, right? So I'm like,
Mhm.
let's do it.
Mhm.
A long weekend in Spain or a long weekend in France,
Mhm.
sure, with cats only.
Yeah, no dogs,
Because
not in the winter. Dogs in the winter, but
I we
it's not
our
even that
last
cold in
house
Portugal.
that we had Cujo, and I'm a dog
Oh,
person. I
yeah.
am a dog person, but Cujo,
Oh,
I'm like, okay, where's my kitties?
yeah. Yeah,
Where's my kitties?
I had a house sit in, Porto this summer, and the dog was big, but so sweet
See,
that
I can do sweet dogs.
yeah.
This dog was just untrained. He and just he did not know no. He didn't
Uh-oh.
respond. He didn't respond. He was like, "What?"
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Still jumping on
mm-mm,
me.
mm-mm,
And he was
mm-mm,
a big dog. It was like I don't know, it looked like a Saint Bernard, but it wasn't, a Bernese or something like
mhm,
that.
mm. Yeah, yeah. I try to do, on the video call, if I'm doing a house sit call, try and get invite the pets to the call too, if possible, to see. Because,
Right? Because, I look at they switched up on me. They had 2 older dogs who had passed away since they had updated their
Oh,
profile.
right,
So
right.
they had all of these great references, but it was about the older dogs,
Okay, yeah.
not this one-year-old puppy.
Ooh. Alright, so it was a puppy, so maybe I could give it a pass, he's still on his learning curve, maybe. I don't know.
We have a puppy. My daughter has a puppy. She moved into our house. He's
Mhm,
he's 1 and 2 months.
mhm.
He is a perfect dog, and he's a big dog.
Did you go to training classes with him?
Did he? No,
No? Maybe
no.
it depends on the
It's
breed.
discipline,
Yeah,
and it could be part breeding as well.
yeah.
But he understands voice commands. Right? I taught this dog is smart. I taught him to sit in 30 seconds. He looked at what my dog did and did the
Mm,
same thing. Does that mean I get a treat too?
right, right, smart. Yes, smart
Smart
dog.
dog.
Yeah. So
Smart
you're
dog.
looking at house sits around and maybe, looking at different areas of Portugal. So are you thinking Lisbon is you're gonna settle there? And are you thinking of buying property in Portugal?
We're definitely on the hunt for property, but not yet. Yes and no. So
Right.
we're already looking, but I want to pay cash.
Mhm.
So we have to save the money to pay cash.
Mhm.
And so one idea is to buy a building with 3 other folks, and everybody takes an apartment, and then we save one to Airbnb or to use for American D7 people who need an
Exactly.
address.
Exactly. This has actually been
Just
in my mind too.
see,
Yeah.
just like in America, the cost per square meter for a whole building is less expensive than you would pay just to get a flat.
Mhm.
So I saw, I've seen several buildings with like 4 to 6 apartments in them for about $1 million.
Okay.
So you split the math, it's like,
Yeah.
okay. Then it's just how much work does it need? So
All right, we'll
that's
talk
on the
offline
list.
about this project.
Yeah. And then Rick wants a villa
Mhm.
somewhere,
Mhm.
and he's got like, bed and breakfast notions and things like that. And I'm like, not sure if
That
I want to
sounds like
work that
work.
hard.
Yeah, sounds like
I'm not
work.
sure if I want to work that hard,
Mhm.
but something more along the lines of maybe what Michelle Wedderburn has, maybe
Mhm.
we have a guest house
Mhm.
that we host sometime. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
whatever, that's not going to happen for a while. And I'm waiting to see what currency is going to do, what these interest rates are going to do,
Mhm.
if the bubble's going to pop and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I need to understand real estate law better here. I need to understand the politics of development here, where
Mhm.
and how they invest money, the zoning and all of that. Even if I was just going to buy an apartment
Mhm.
or a flat, I need to know all of that stuff
Mhm.
before I can even think about buying.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but so Lisbon is definitely, I'm a city girl.
Mhm.
I am a city girl through and through. And I didn't know that. I thought I was a beach girl because I'm from California, but
Mhm.
all the beaches are in the city. So
Right.
I forgot about that part.
Mhm.
I
Not
need
all the
culture,
beaches.
not all, but our beaches in Southern California for the most part, right? So I need museums, I
Mhm.
need concerts, I need big major plays as well as small playhouses. I don't care what language, I can tell by body language, I'll figure it out, right? I need all of that stuff. That's my happy place.
Mm. Good. So, Porto?
Probably not. But
Okay.
I do want to see it. But
Okay.
based upon the weather patterns and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I would not ever, price notwithstanding, live in the Bay Area for the weather patterns and the
Mhm.
stupid traffic. Um, I want warmth,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
Yep. Yep.
not hot. So, and then the Algarve, too many expats.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. And it's not a city. It's
It's not a city. It's a beach
yeah.
town. All
Yeah.
of them are beach towns.
Yeah.
I love Lisbon because I blend.
Mhm. Yeah.
We are in a regular neighborhood. No one thinks we are immigrants until we open our mouth.
Mhm. Yeah.
And and then it's obvious, obviously. But
Mhm.
yeah, we blend. We are in a neighborhood that is supposed to be one of the most diverse. Little did I
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
And so when I look out of our front window, there's a park right there. And I literally see, kids and moms and teenage kids, because there's a high school down the way,
Mhm.
of all different hues,
Mm.
all, all speaking Portuguese.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and
I
so
love
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're about Lisbon. You're about the city life, the capital, and
Yeah.
you will be like
For
taking
now.
side trips. Yeah, for now, and you'll be taking trips around and discovering more
Yeah.
of your sort of environment that way.
Plus, all of our friends are here. So shout
Mhm.
out to Black in Portugal, because those young ladies,
Yes.
and I was listening to them this morning on Blacks at Globals, put out something a couple of weeks ago. I'm behind. Sorry, Krishanda. Krishan.
Mhm.
I was looking at somebody there and trying to say her name at the same time.
Mm,
But
mm,
yeah, I was, and these young ladies have put together this community, and except for one, every single friend that we have is because of that group. And so when we landed that Saturday, we went out to dinner for Ric's birthday with 3 friends.
Yeah.
You know, yay.
Yeah. It's nice. It's very
Yay.
nice.
It
Yeah.
really, really is. And so we went to they do karaoke every month. And so last Thursday, Wednesday, or something like that, we were at karaoke. We met some subscribers. Hey, one subscriber actually came here and then reached out to us. And so we said, yeah, definitely. And let's meet you do you know about Black in Portugal? Do you know about karaoke night? And so he was there. There were some other folks there who we knew, and Naki, hey, Naki, he was there from the Black in Lisbon tour. And of course, all of the young ladies who run it. And it's just loud and rowdy. And all of these, English speaking Black folks doing what we do.
Yeah.
Doing what we do. And so, it's not that I came to Lisbon just to be around Black Americans, but sometimes you just don't feel like translating.
Yes.
Sometimes you just don't want to have to explain.
Yeah.
And you just want to be. And so it's nice to have that community here. I don't have to explain when I say, 45.
Right.
I don't have to explain what I mean.
Yes, it's all there.
It's all there. Or where am I going to find some grits? Or, where am I going to get my hair cut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I was thinking about that earlier today. I was thinking, you want to be part of the culture that you're in. You don't want to pretend that you're still in the States and have everything the same. But sometimes you just want to have some almond butter on it with some chocolate chips.
Right.
You want to toast it. And you want it all. You just want that, you want that comfort feeling.
Yes.
Because you're in Portugal. You're going to know that 24/7.
Yes.
You're going to be surrounded by Portuguese, and that's cool. That's what you came there for.
Exactly.
But then,
there are moments. And for Ric, it's the coffee. And for me, comfort food is Mexican food because I grew up in Southern California. And so in my world, Mexican food is a food group. Fruits, vegetables, Mexican food. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I can have Mexican food. And so they've got the ingredients, but they don't have corn tortillas. They don't have cornbread. I haven't seen cornbread.
No. You know what I do love, though, is Brazilian cheese bread. Oh, it's different. I don't know if everybody's gonna like it, but you can sometimes get it in Pingo Doce, they're round little bolos, and it looks like a biscuit.
Pão de queijo.
Yeah. And it's like you chew it and it stretches.
It stretches.
Some people may not like this so much, but
it's kind of like a thick pizza cheese type of thing. And so I love those. I buy those on the regular, but I'm also buying some corn. I'm going to figure out how to make masa and how to make a corn tortilla.
Yes.
With what's here.
Yeah, you can do that. Get polenta maybe. You can do it.
I'll figure it out. And then chili powder.
Oh.
So they have the packets of McCormick. Well, you can get them from the American store, and I have seen them but
chili powder.
But they're like $2.80 for one packet, and it just hurts something. When I know they're 99 cents in the States. But I might I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to look on the back to see all of the stuff that's in there, and then see if I can just find those different ingredients.
Yeah.
Definitely. But food-wise, butchers.
Oh.
I have found my butcher.
Oh, good. Okay.
And, there's butchers on every corner. So that's the other thing. There's fruits and vegetables on it. There's no such thing as a food desert that I have seen, rich, poor, otherwise. And maybe because it's so walkable and there's a lack of cars. So even mom and pops are going to get some business because everybody's walking, right? So we literally have within less than a 60-second walk, 4 places that we can buy fruits and vegetables. 3 chain grocery stores within walking distance, less than 10 minutes. One is literally 5 doors down. That's what I love. That's
Yeah.
what I love.
Yeah, and you grow like, if you have an itty bitty fridge,
It's
or you
not
have a regular
itty
size?
bitty.
Okay.
It's a small American size fridge.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
one you'd find in an apartment.
Mhm.
So it's big enough. Like it's big enough to hold, a week's worth of supply. It's not
Mm.
Costco big,
Mhm. Right.
but it's not one of those
Okay.
little
Okay, so you can have a
dorm.
week's worth of groceries. That's
Oh
big.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
it's
Okay.
taller than me.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
not like I had, we had the big double, all that stuff in the States. It's not that big, but big enough
Mhm.
for 2 people, most definitely.
Okay.
And yes, they do have Asian grocery stores. Oh, yes. Yes, Greta. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and
I was
I
just
live in a neighborhood that is heavily Asian influenced.
mm. Mhm.
So I need to go into the stores that they own and I know where they are. That's a
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
Same in Denver.
So you're gonna have a
See, see,
Mex-Asian tacos.
that's why I love you guys, because
Mhm.
y'all come with the answers.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
come with the answers.
my thought was you could try, like, if there are any Ethiopian stores, that was my first thought, was like you could try the, what's the powder?
I know they have some
The
hot
Ethiopian.
that's but
Yeah.
but chili powder is not that hot. Like the chili powder that you buy in the States is not that hot. It
Yeah.
has a little bit of a bite. So
Mhm.
it's the medium peppers. I see somebody in the chat saying, "Does Portugal have its own delicious pastries?"
Does it? Does it though?
So pastis de nata
Mhm.
is the pastry of the country. And or one is called pastel de nata,
Mhm.
and nata means cream. So it is kind of like a custard with the pastry crust. They're little tarts,
Let's
and the
see.
pastry crust is really pastry,
Yeah,
flaky,
it's got
flaky,
a
flaky.
swirl on the bottom, like, they do this thing where there's a pastry swirl.
Yes.
Crispy.
Oh, they're really, really good, but they're
Yeah.
very, very rich.
Mhm.
Someone said they taste eggy, and they don't to me,
Mm.
but Rick says they taste eggy to him. So whatever.
Yeah, yeah, depends.
Um, and they do churros here as
Oh,
well.
okay.
And churros, fresh churros, especially I don't find them so much in this neighborhood, but in the
Mm,
tourist areas,
mhm,
is where you usually find them at the kiosk. They'll have kiosks set up where they
mhm,
they fry them up fresh right there.
mm.
And the churros in the United States do not compare. The
Mm,
churros in Mexico that I've had do not compare to the ones in Spain and the ones here.
okay.
And
Mm,
so one of the things they do, which is just, oh my God, just so crazy stupid. It's
mm,
like a heart attack waiting to happen. But they're like this big around, and then they shove Nutella in them.
okay. If you like that kind of thing.
For
Yeah.
those of my sisters who are into the chocolate, me and chocolate have
Mhm.
a close personal relationship.
Oh,
My
okay,
my
yeah.
husband is kind of jealous, but I told him he doesn't have to worry about it. But this relationship with me and chocolate is on another level.
Mm,
And so, and yes, yes, yes. And they are so good. Oh my
mm,
gosh, the grease, the sugar, and then they take the outside and they have like a cinnamon sugar thing that they will roll it in for you as
mhm,
well.
mhm.
So you got the
Yeah.
grease, you got the dough, you've got the chocolate, deep fried. Come on. Is there anything better? No. No, no, no.
I have to say that when I was in Porto, I just discovered I started eating this, torta de limão, which is, I think it's a Brazilian thing, and now that's in Portugal, it's like it's almost like a key lime pie, but it's creamy.
That's
It's
right. You told me about
yeah,
that. What
with
is the name of it again?
tarte de limão, I'll put it in the
Okay.
thing. Yeah, I don't think I have,
So lemon pie basically
yeah,
is the
yeah.
translation.
I don't think I have the little thingy on my keyboard, but,
Yeah, yeah, I know, I know.
yeah.
So, yeah, and then it's got this bloop bloop.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
meow,
yeah.
that's when you have to do the nasally thing.
Yeah, limão, limão.
Yes.
No, I don't
So
sound like a cat.
And I love key lime pie, and I love, um, I make a pretty mean lemon meringue pie. I
Mm,
haven't they serve here that's another thing that is I don't know if it's a Portuguese thing,
mhm.
but meringue, just meringue, like toasted meringue.
Oh,
So
yes.
they
Oh,
have the little bitty ones,
yes, and then a
but with
pavlova.
what
Right?
is that?
It's pavlova is like a big meringue, like a cake size, and then you put fruit, and
Okay.
sometimes it's layered with fruit meringue,
I
fruit
have
candy.
seen that. I didn't know
Mm,
the name of it. And because
mm,
I see like in Coimbra, there's a place they have meringues that are this big.
mhm.
And so we were out with friends and they each got a slice
Okay, yes,
of
yes.
toasted egg whites and sugar. That's just a toothache waiting to happen. Now, hot
Right?
chocolate,
Mhm.
cocoa, what Adelia
Yeah,
calls hot cocoa all day long,
yeah.
but hot chocolate like in Chocolat, in the movie Chocolat, where it's actually like
Really
more
thick.
like melted chocolate,
Mm.
I don't know, and I'm afraid to find out.
Oh, 'cause you might get addicted? Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I don't know I don't
So,
know I don't know the answer to that either. I
but
don't
if
know
I can
why I
get
don't know
Adelia to consider a D7, I will check it out.
Yeah, Delia, what do you say?
Blackmail.
What do you say?
I'm trying to be like, okay, I know Stephanie's in Costa Rica right now, but okay,
I
that's just
think
temporary.
we have to have outposts everywhere. I think
We do.
I'm more
We do.
about the
We do,
be
but
everywhere
I
approach.
want my favorite people over here.
Yeah. I
I'll
like
be
to go
selfish.
visit my favorite people. I don't
That
know. I like the outpost
there's something
way
to
of
be said
life.
about that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, I will have to check out the chocolate, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then even like Adelia used to talk about chocolate brownies.
Mhm.
Yeah, 2 days ago. Where did we get? Oh, IKEA. IKEA has this, I don't know what the name of it. It's chocolate something. It looked like chocolate pie,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
the outside was a little bit crunchy and the
Mhm.
inside was creamy.
Mhm. Yes.
And then it tasted like a brownie. It tasted like
Mhm.
one of those kind of brownies. I was like, I
Yes.
thought of Adelia. I was like, oh,
Yes.
I had to just eat half and then save half because
Yes.
oh
Yes. Yes. I've had definitely had one of those in Lisbon at some point. Yes. Rich,
yes.
so rich. I did take some home. Yeah. Delicious.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. All right. So if anybody has questions for us, Halicia's in Portugal. If you have questions for her, put them in the chat. And
She says
yeah.
she's very familiar with that cake from IKEA.
Really?
So Greta, yes, they have sushi. Of course they have sushi here, and it's
Yeah.
fresh. I don't eat
Yeah.
seafood,
Okay.
but, you know, I'm
I ordered sushi. My sister made me order sushi when we traveled to Portugal in last year, and it was all the same fish. We were like, let's have the platter. We have a variety. And I think it was either salmon or tuna that they had.
and it was oh,
It was all the same fish.
oh,
It
that's
wasn't like
interesting.
yellowtail, eel. I didn't see that. So I wasn't really checking for sushi, but the first sushi I had was a little underwhelming. Like, not that it wasn't fresh, it was fresh, but there was not that
The
variety that
variety.
I
Interesting
expected.
because they
Yeah.
have all of those kinds of
Mm,
fish here. I've seen
mhm,
them in the butcher area,
mhm.
um,
Yeah.
and the eel and all kind of weird stuff that I won't eat.
You know what they do have though is, what is that stuff called? They have it in Mexico. It's fish that's chopped up and with lime and
Ceviche.
yes, ceviche. They have ceviche. Yes. I was like,
Okay.
let's lean away from the sushi since we're not in, America and Japan, and let's lean towards the ceviche. And that's where I found some really
Really good. Okay.
delicious dishes. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to
Yeah.
get Rick on the hunt for any of you seafood people because I
Mm,
am not the one. I'm a little bit of a
okay.
picky girl too. I
Mm,
was telling Adelia when
mm.
I was a kid, I would eat the icing and not the cake. That's how bad I was.
Okay. Yes. I had a coworker who used to scrape the icing off of cupcakes and eat the cupcake.
See, that's the healthy part. No, 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 no. Give me the sugar and butter,
That's not
please.
the healthy part. There's no healthy part of a cupcake.
Healthier, right? At least there's some eggs and stuff, not just butter and sugar.
Just own it. Own it. It's okay.
So, I mean, yeah, truly, truly. But yeah, I was that girl. Oh my gosh, I've gotten better. I do not like, I like fruits and vegetables now, but there was a time I was back. I was bad. In addition to the Black and Lisbon tour, are there other Afro or Black Portuguese spots that you'd recommend or want to explore? So every single African restaurant that I've been to here is on another level.
And these
I
are
don't know
from,
what I'm eating,
yes.
except for that it is beef, because
Right.
that's my favorite, and sometimes chicken. I know they have pork dishes as well. And if they have fish dishes, I haven't tasted them. But
so the cuisines are like Cape Verde and
Cape Verde,
Angola.
and then I think the restaurant that I went to last was Angolan. And in my opinion, the food tastes like my Louisiana grandma spent some time in Jamaica and then started creating new dishes. That's what it tastes like to me. It's on another level. Oh my gosh, it's good. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a comfort food. It's like you have to kind of like get the polenta and try to make the tacos. It's like, you know, get your comfort food in a different way. So, you know, maybe the Angolan or Cape Verdean has a dish that reminds you of home in some way.
It is so good. It with a little difference, right? And then you have the plantain with it. It's so good. They have a large African population here, right? From Mozambique, from Angola, and then other countries as well as Cape Verde. And then the Black Brazilians as well. So you've got you do have neighborhoods that are specific to that culture, because what do? We go move to where our friends are. Oh, so-and-so's over there. He'll show you an apartment, and it's going to be an apartment in his neighborhood, just like they do in America, right? So when immigrants come to America, they all kind of group in certain neighborhoods, the same thing as here. I know where some of those neighborhoods are, but not all of them. And so there's a large African and Black community on the other side of the river in Almada. There's one just on just northeast of like Cais de Sodré. And then if you take the blue line all the way out to where it ends, there is, I can't remember that stop, but
like near the airport?
No, that's the red line.
Okay.
That goes the opposite direction. The blue line actually goes the opposite direction as you're heading towards Sintra. There is a large African community out there as well. But then they're all everywhere as well. And so Naki would be a better person to ask. I've only been here for 2 months, y'all. And this is what I found out in 2 months. There's a lot of Africans and Black folks in this neighborhood that I'm in. And this freguesia, I think it's called.
Freguesia. Okay, I can't roll my R's at the front. I have to roll them in the back. Freguesia.
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 Yes. The double R, you do like French. The one R, you do like Spanish. So
your tongue's going to get a workout. You're like, not there, but back there.
Back there. Exactly. So, but yeah, there and Nepalese and Indian and Asian.
Yes. And this is probably more specific to the big cities, because in the traditional towns, it will be
pretty homogenous.
Portuguese food. Yeah, pretty. And even in Porto, I did find it a challenge to not eat meat, because I don't eat meat. I did find it a challenge to find a restaurant that would make me super happy. Like there are definitely, veg forward restaurants there, but it's more of a challenge than it is in Lisbon for me. Yeah.
There's a ton of vegan restaurants here, and even vegan ice cream shops.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I don't want that.
You want the cow. Yeah.
Give me some moo.
Yeah. Actually, that is the name of a gelato place, moo.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yep, there is. And
Yeah.
I'm a little lactose intolerant and still. Maybe I should go ahead and try it and see
Yeah.
what it tastes like. You know, one taste couldn't hurt.
Mm.
So barbecue eel is no baby.
Delicious,
Greta, I love you.
delicious.
No.
It is so even my kid likes that, so it's good.
Yeah. So Anita has a question I see right above
Okay.
that one.
Okay. Here we go. Hmm.
Where is a good place to stay for 1 week? I will
Oh,
be there
listen.
November 12th for 1 week. Well, I have to see you, Anita, when you're here. You
Yeah.
know that. And
Mhm.
want to stay in a walkable place close to the city center. Um, anywhere, Lisbon is just not physically that big.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And we stayed actually on the other side of the river in Casillas,
Hmm.
which is just on the tip, on the other side, opposite of where the Jesus statue is,
Mhm.
opposite as far as east west, not north south. And so we were literally a 3-minute walk to the ferry, and then a ferry ride, which literally was 10 minutes to Cais de Sodré, which is the center, the El Centro, really, right? Wouldn't you consider that El Centro? You know, that area right there of
Ish.
ish. I mean,
Ish.
it's not like
Yeah.
Mexico, El Centro,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
is the tourist area where the yellow building is and all that stuff that you guys always see
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
thing. So that is
Yeah. I
that
guess for
downtown
me,
area.
Grassa is the center because maybe that's because that's where I stayed the first time I visited. And so I think of like that's the center because it's like the old part of it.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I consider that arch and that long walkway where
Yeah.
off of there is where
Yeah.
all the tourists are.
Yeah.
So I
So it
consider that
depends.
the center,
Yeah.
but
I guess I would say it depends on do you want to be in a busy touristy area so that you can get to places really fast, or do you want to be in a quieter neighborhood where it's more traditional with Portuguese people living around? So it sort of depends. Um,
yeah, what I would
yeah.
do if you don't want to stay in Casillas, which is less expensive. In November, it's cheaper, so you won't have the same hassles we did for June, right? What
Mhm.
I would do is I would get the MX app. Let me see. Uh, 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 um,
And I would say staying in Casillas is more like staying in Brooklyn, right? If
yeah,
you're, as opposed to Manhattan.
yeah,
Yeah.
except for closer transportation wise,
Mhm.
because I don't
So
think
Staten Island,
Brooklyn.
Staten Island.
It literally 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, So it's called Metro LX, if you guys can see that red one,
Yeah, okay, Metro LX, and that's for
Metro
Lisbon,
LX,
okay.
and that's the Lisbon Metro system.
Mm,
On their app, Anita, they have this map of the metro. So I would stick close to the metro lines, and that makes it
mhm,
walkable. If you were
mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, whatever, from the metro line, it's going to be
You're fine.
walkable, and you
Okay.
will be able to easily get to that center where all of the tourist stuff is
Mhm.
easily. So
Yeah,
that would be
yeah,
my
yeah, and I almost feel like it's not you can't pick a bad neighborhood, but it's like just pick one that looks good to you, and it's like Halisi said, it's not that big. You will find lovely things in the neighborhood where whichever neighborhood you stay in, and you'll be able to
yeah.
take the metro or walk to other neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Um,
very, very easily,
yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, but
So,
don't
I
o
mean,
I would say don't overthink it,
don't
like, just
overthink it. No. I didn't realize, like, I see where we are on the map, but it wasn't until I started walking around the neighborhood that I was like, oh, you mean that's just right there? And that's just right there? I thought we were miles away.
mhm,
No, it's just the
yeah,
streets, it's not on a grid.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
kind of like band streets. And
mhm,
so it twists and turns
yeah,
and this and that. And I lose my direction because I don't have the mountains to give me direction
yeah,
to know which way I'm
yeah,
facing. So yeah, it's
yeah,
small, it's compact.
yeah,
And I don't know of an area in Lisbon proper that's not walkable.
yeah. So I would say for that question, where is it again? Areas, a good place to stay, yeah. I would say, so just what are your priorities? Do you want a quiet area? Do you want a touristy area, which could be noisy? I would actually recommend if you are not a partier, do not stay in the pink zone. Right? That's the one thing I would say. Don't stay If you don't want to stay up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, don't stay in a neighborhood where people are drinking and staying up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's number one. And then also, like,
Yeah.
what are your priorities? Are you okay with walking up 3 flights? Or do you need an elevator? Do do you have other things? Like, once you start, oh, do you want a view or do you want to be close to the ground? Like,
Yeah.
just what are your
And what are the
priorities?
things that you wanna do? So if you
Yeah.
Anita, if you tell me the stuff that you wanna do, that will help too.
Yeah.
Um,
And but
but
even
but
so, like,
again
you don't have
but
to stay
again
where,
exactly,
yeah.
you're a metro right away, and the metro here is so easy. To me, it's easier than DC, easier than New York. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy.
It's very doable. So, yeah, Anita, you're going to have a good time. Just enjoy yourself. Don't overthink it. Just stay someplace that looks beautiful to you, and
And
you'll
and
figure it out.
and in your price range.
Yeah, and your price range has the things that you want and need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good time to visit because it's not as crowded as the summer. So,
Yeah, definitely. And it's been rainy, 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 so it'll be
mhm,
cool. It won't be
yeah.
cold, but it will be cool.
Yes. Bring your very comfortable walking shoes, please.
Yes, those cobblestone slip. Don't bring your cute shoes. I have only 2 pairs of cute shoes with me, heels.
Mm.
I have yet to wear them, and I probably will not. I will probably put them in my purse and then put them on when I get to the place
Mhm.
because those cobblestones are no joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Somebody
some of the
said,
sidewalks are so steep, they have handrails.
exactly. Somebody had a question about, oh, yeah, the stairs and hills. Yeah, they're real. They're really real. I do have a video of with me in, I think it was July, climbing. It was like so hot. I was climbing these. I was going up, going up, going up, looking at the view, going down, going down, going down, going up, looking at the view, going up.
Yes.
It's Lisbon. It's
It's
Lisbon.
Lisbon. So Lisbon is called the city of 7 hills, and we are on one of those hills. As a matter of fact, our video on Don't Move to Lisbon If we have, that's the first thing we talk about is the hills, and we have footage. Well, don't move to Portugal because we had footage from Coimbra, we had
Mm.
footage from Almada as well as Lisbon. There's hills.
So
There's
Coimbra is
hills.
hilly also? I was thinking
Yes,
that, okay, there gotta be
it's
towns. There have to,
valleys and hills, valleys
okay.
and hills.
All
Yeah.
right. I didn't stop in Coimbra on my train ride, but I know there must be some flatter. Like, isn't Cascais flatter? It's on the beach.
It is flatter. I like when we were there, um, and we did walk around. It was a hill, but it wasn't a
Mhm,
steep hill.
mhm,
It was a steady incline.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, even there, like if we had turned off that way, I saw a
mm.
steep hill. So no,
Mhm.
yeah. So no, it's hills there. Now I've
Mm,
heard the Algarve, I haven't been, is
mm,
flatter.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah.
So, but I don't think you can 100% get away from the hills.
Mhm.
Um, that's what electric bicycles are for and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, I love
I
those.
saw these 2 people who had to be at least in their 50s,
Mhm.
and they were going uphill just, sitting down, going like this. I'm like, "Wait, what kind of bike is that?" "Oh, it has a
Mm.
little motor to help
Yes,
them."
ma'am.
That's what I need.
Mm. I love it. I love it. I did that in Porto. It was delicious. Going up that hill with, like, so little effort. I was like, it was so
Yes.
delicious.
So the metro is not 24 hours. It's almost 24 hours, but it's not.
Mm. Kinda
I'd
like in
say,
DC. It's like
yeah,
they
maybe
shut it
from
down.
2 to 4 or something like that, it's shut down, something
Mhm.
like that. Because the last ferry is 1:30,
Okay.
and I know there's metros after that, so
We should talk about the rolling strikes. This is real.
yes,
This is
this
real.
is real. This is real. Um, but not like I'm used to in LA and Denver.
Mhm.
So here, they give you notice. And they don't, if you have the apps, like the Metro LX is one of them, they let you know on the apps and they let you know on the signage. Sweet,
That the
sweet people.
we
This
are,
line
yeah,
between this and this is going to be shut down on this day. So you do
because we're
get
going on
warning.
strike.
But I like, yeah, they're going on strike. I don't know. Like they never, I have not seen since I've been here them shut down a whole system at one time. It will be either 1 or 2 routes.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the whole ferry system. It was
Yeah.
our route that got shut down and then we had to take an Uber. And then the same with the heavy rail train or the regional train. It'll be the route between, say, Coimbra and Sintra is shut down. And then between Coimbra and Porto is shut down on that day, like that. That's,
Yeah, the
And
strikes
so-
are very different. They're interesting, and they can make for, if you're trying to get somewhere, they can make it a real challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, they can. And so you just kind of have to plan ahead, but they do let you know in enough in advance that you can plan around it. I haven't seen one with any less than a week's notice.
Yeah. And the reason they're striking is because, of course, Portugal had an economic crisis in 2012 or whatever, and they had a lot of austerity measures, which included reducing government workers' pay. So that didn't go down very well. And so people are probably trying to get their wages back to a better level. So they strike.
And the police were striking as well for more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as they get more money, folks, and if that affects the minimum wage, then that's going to affect the D7.
Oh, how much money we'll need, because
and maybe even that new digital nomad one as well. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so when you apply for a D7 residency visa in Portugal, they say that you need to make, is it 5 times or have 5 times the minimum wage or something like, there's a number. You have to have X times the Portuguese minimum wage in order to qualify for this visa. Similar to the new digital nomad visa, they have a minimum requirement of money that you have to have. So it is affected by the minimum wage.
So it's just, you only have to have their minimum wage coming in every month, be it
for the D7.
For the D7. So that's $1,100.
Okay. So it must be the digital nomad.
So the digital nomad may be different.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it yet, but for the D7, you have to have that amount of money coming in. And then for me, so it's minimum wage plus and a half for a couple. So 1.5 times minimum wage. And then you need to have about 3 months or so of living expenses in the bank.
Okay. So savings plus income.
So do you know if they consider savings for it? Yeah. So if you can show that your savings is giving you, you've got this pot of money over here and you're living off of that, and that equals, a year or two, that can equate as well. So
that's income.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to show that
because you don't have to have any more savings than 3 months worth of living expenses.
Okay. So it's 3 months savings plus income, it sounds like.
So yes. And the income, if you've got a huge savings, then that can be your income. But if you only have the 3 months, then you got to have some income coming in, because what you going to do after that? Yeah.
Okay. This is a good question.
Yes. Yes, it is. And, so it's interesting because Cinnamon from Driven Spice was talking about, we're in a war, people. And we're like, we're not in a war. Yeah. So Europe, even though Europe is not in a war per se, Putin's doing what Putin's doing to Ukraine, right? And that is affecting all of us. And so gas is the equivalent of over $8 a gallon. And I have noticed some creep in the food prices. Now, this is just from June to today, the creep in food prices. They are saying it's going to get worse next year. And so we will see. But right now, I've seen some inflation, especially with the gas, but also with food. Nothing like in the States, because going from May to August, being gone, I was like, what are we doing? I had my little feelings hurt going to Costco and walking out with 3 things for $65. I had my feelings hurt. So it's not it doesn't look like it does in the States, but it has been, my 189 peanut butter is now 199. So that's,
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
But that's still cheaper than it was in the States because it's all natural. And that's another thing. It's against the
Mm.
law to put too much salt in food. It's against the law to put too much sugar unless it's a sweet.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, and they have
so
these things on the labels there. It's like red, green, red, yellow, green to tell you like if the sugar
how
is,
healthy,
yeah,
how
high.
healthy it is. Yep.
Mm,
So you have to eat the green stuff for processed food, obviously. The green stuff is the healthier stuff, and
yeah,
the red is obviously not, which
right,
is my Nutella churros.
right. Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Huh. Okay, Halisi, it's
have
10
we done
a.m.
it?
here. Yes, it is. We have done it.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. Thank you
Yay.
so much, Halisi. I really appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
thank you for everyone who watched and asked questions and participated in the chat. I really appreciate it. If you like this conversation, please subscribe to Rebloom's
Yes.
channel and like this video. I will link to Halisi's everything YouTube website.
Come
And she
check us
has,
out.
yes, she has a lot of great resources and really good advice for people who are on that journey to financial independence, retiring with ease. So
Yes.
check it
Yes.
out.
There's lots of creative ways.
Yes, yes.
So,
Thank you all so
all
much.
right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.